It was a long list of foreign leaders that President Trump communicated with in the weeks before the whistleblower spoke up. But the Washington Post reports that the complaint, which the intelligence community inspector general says is of urgent concern, centers on Ukraine, which the president has had controversial dealings with. Just 2.5 weeks before the complaint was filed on August 12th, the president spoke with his Ukrainian counterpart. Trump today insisting it was all above board.
I've had conversations with many leaders that are always appropriate.
At the time, the White House said the two presidents discussed strengthening the relationship without giving specifics. But Ukraine said they talked about the investigation of corruption cases, which inhibited the interaction between Ukraine and the USA. In May, the president's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, said he was going to Ukraine to push the new president to investigate Joe Biden and his son's links to a gas company. He canceled the trip, but then in July went to Madrid to meet with an aide to President Zelensky to talk about Biden. Then, the next month, $250 million in military aid for Ukraine was put on hold by the White House. On September 1st, Vice President Mike Pence met with Zelensky. When asked about the efforts to get dirt on Joe Biden, the vice president danced around it.
As President Trump had me made clear, we have great concerns about issues of corruption. And fortunately, President Zelensky was elected decisively on an anti-corruption message.
Whatever the alleged promise that the whistleblower says the president reportedly made, Democrats in Congress are vowing to get to the bottom of those claims.
They deserve a thorough investigation. That's what we're intent on doing, and come hell or high water, that's what we're going to do.
Don't pay attention to what he says. Pay attention to what he does. That's become a mantra for many Trump supporters, and I'm beginning to think they have a point.
I think I know more about the environment than most people. I want clean air, I want clean water. Clean air and crystal clean water. That's what we want. Remember this, I'm an environmentalist. I want crystal clean water. I want crystal clean air.
That's what he says he wants, but look at what he does. Because yesterday, on his way to LA, President Trump announced via tweet that he's killing California's longstanding right to set its own emission standards for cars and trucks. So there are two epic hypocrisies at work here and one cold political reality. First, federalism has always been a conservative article of faith. That's the idea that states should have the right to be as free from federal government as possible. But in Trump land, that principle apparently doesn't extend to the environment. And it's especially odd because the California Air Resources Board, which sets these standards, was established by Governor Ronald Reagan in 1967. At that time, Southern California was swamped with smog, and auto emissions were a prime culprit. Guess what? Policies worked. So when President Trump touts America's crystal clean air, it's because of the policies he's now trying to get rid of. And this is just one example of 85 environmental rules the administration is going after. It includes letting companies off the hook from reporting methane leaks to repealing requirements to track some tailpipe emissions. But on the flip side, it's also ironic to see liberals suddenly discover the wisdom of federalism. California Governor Gavin Newsom is leading the liberal resistance against the Trump agenda. His state's filed 59 lawsuits against administration policies, from immigration to the environment. But President Trump says he's acting on behalf of the auto industry and the consumer, since companies won't have to pass on the cost of meeting stricter emission rules. But the auto industry hasn't been asking for this. And don't take my word for it. Back in 2018, Bill Ford of the car company that bears his name said, "We support increasing clean car standards through 2025 and are not asking for a rollback." So why is President Trump flying across the country to punch California in the face? Because he can. Now, targeting the nation's largest state would normally be bad politics in a popular vote system. But because of the Electoral College, Trump doesn't care about competing for votes there. He's never going to win it. So he can afford to use the Golden State as an ATM for a couple of big dollar fundraisers and then attack their policies, even if it means damaging the environment and increasing pollution on behalf of an industry that isn't asking for it. So maybe we should listen to Trump supporters and look at what he does rather than listen to what he says. Because when it comes to his promises of clean air, President Trump is all hot air. And that's your reality check.
Do you agree, do you concede now that an impeachment inquiry into President Trump is underway?
Do I concede now? Have you not paid attention to what we've been talking about? For months, we've been saying we're doing three things. We are legislating, we're investigating, as 6 committees have been doing for months. 6 committees have been working 4 months. And third, we are litigating. We are taking the work of the committees into the courts.
Is the specific language not important? I mean, how should the American people understand
The
the work
American
of this
people
committee when members
understand
are
that
speaking
when-
very differently about it?
It's not, you're the only ones who are sowing this.
That's not true, ma'am.
It isn't true.
Rank and file
I've
leadership
traveled
have
the
talked very
entire
differently about
country.
this.
Come with me sometime, and you'll hear what the American people are saying. They understand that impeachment is a very divisive measure. But if we have to go there, we'll have to go there.
We have heard from many of the members of your caucus who have been very open in saying that they're getting mixed messages. And those mixed messages sometimes translate to the American public. And you've long said that public sentiment is an important factor in deciding what you're going to do there. So shouldn't you set the record straight?
I
as Speaker of the
have said
House?
what I'm going to say on the subject. That's it. We are legislating. We are focusing on the work that we're here to do for the American people.
And just to follow up, are you uncomfortable with the term impeachment inquiry? Is there another term we should be using?
I'm not. Thank you all very much. Let me see. We are on our path. Where it takes us is where we will follow the facts. That's what it is. Why don't we spend some time going over to see Mitch McConnell and asking him why he doesn't want to save lives? Why he will let every day go by where at least 100 people, a large number of them children or teenagers, die from gun violence? Why is it that you're hung up on a word over here when lives are at stake over there? Thank you all very much, and good morning.
Madam Speaker. Yo, this is not happening right now. What the f? What the f? Oh my God.